So, just want to clarify something with the parrot Anafi. Now, I've come down to this flying area in London. It's Wormwood Scrubs, and what I wanted to just kind of illustrate is that the return to home function on the parrot Anafi. Now, a lot of people have got it confused and believe that the return to home limit is only set to 20 meters high, meaning that you can't change it basically. Well, what it says in the manual, instructional manual, is that the return to home function is set to a minimum of 20 meters. Now, what that means is basically the minimum height it will return to home at is at 20 meters. So if your drone is flying lower than 20 meters, it would rise up to 20 meters and return to home. Now, I've just took the drone out into the field just now, as you can see, and I've made it fly at an altitude of 42 meters. And when I press on the return to home button, you can see it's starting to return, and it's returning back at 42 meters, and then it will descend. Another test I did is that I flew the drone out at 14 meters high, and with that it flew out to 14 meters to about 100 meters away, and pressed return to home. And what happened is that the drone flew up to 20 meters from 14 meters and then returned to home. So that's what it really is. It's not a case of that you can't change it. You can change it. It's basically whatever altitude you're flying at, as long as it's above 20 meters, it will fly back at that altitude. So, basically just make sure you have enough clearance to clear any obstacles on your return to home. And that's it really. I think the drone's a really good drone. It's very strong and stable in the wind, and good GPS as well. So that's my thoughts on the parrot Anafi. So I took some people made some complaints about the actual placement of the design of the SD card slot. I think it's not a problem. Basically, I leave the card inside the drone, and I have a spare card always with me anyway in the carry case. And when it's time to actually retrieve my footage, because I tend to download immediately after I've flown, I'll go home and I'll connect the drone directly to the computer, switch on the drone, and it would mount on my desktop as a hard disk, and from there I can just grab off all the footage that is on the drone. So I don't see that as a real problem to be going in and out and actually changing, taking out the card and putting it back in, and taking it out and putting it back in. Also, you can download the footage to your phone directly if you want to review it. I've done it on one phone. I don't think it worked with my Samsung S9, maybe because of the software, I'm not sure, because I did it with my Sony Z5, and that's the older software. So, I think that one's working on Jelly Bean and the other one's working on Oreo. Yeah, the S9 is working on Oreo, so it may be a software thing with the Android version of the app, but it's not really an issue for me in that kind of sense. In terms of the obstacle avoidance, well, I tend to fly in line of sight. Don't try to get any really great range. No need for it. I usually have a point of interest, and usually I'm within a certain perimeter of that point of interest to record and get the footage I need. If it's out of range, I will move closer, physically closer, instead of flying out there closer. I try to be as safe as possible, and I think when you are a pilot, which is is trained or flies drones without obstacle avoidance, it tends to make you a lot more sharper and a lot more cautious, and a lot less dependent on obstacle avoidance. So you're a bit more vigilant, and so you have observation on the screen and observation as well on the eyes in the sky. So I think it's not really a big issue. As you know, the Inspire 1 did not have obstacle avoidance on it. It's still a great drone, and many of the other earlier versions of the DJI drones didn't have obstacle avoidance. I think it just makes a person a better pilot and a lot more cautious, and it gives you a lot more control, because some of the controls which happen within the DJI products, I'm not a DJI hater, I don't like the software, I like the hardware. The hardware's brilliant. The problem is that it tends to take away control from you, whether it goes into anti-mode or it loses GPS and then does its own thing in that kind of sense. And also with the obstacle avoidance, it's very hard to navigate through very narrow spaces, because the obstacle avoidance will kick in and make the drone move in a way you're probably not expecting. So I prefer to have full control over the drone, and that kind of helps you to be a better pilot and also negotiate any obstacles, basically in front of you, because you're going to be looking at the screen when you're flying as well. So you're not going to fly into a house. You'll probably lift it up to fly over the house. You're not going to wait for the obstacle avoidance to see if it's going to work or not and go above the house. And obstacle avoidance does not work on cable lines. So these things, you still have to be vigilant about. So I don't see it as a big problem having no obstacle avoidance on the Anafi. Also, it's a very light, compact drone, easy setup, ready to fly. So, just pull out the controller, connect your phone, app launches immediately, turn on the drone. Gimbal alignment, it goes through a little process, and then away you go. It's like less than 30 seconds to set up, and that I really appreciate in the design of the drone. Is you can really get some really good flight time, and 25 minutes, and usually I fly for maybe 15 minutes and come down, and then maybe fly another 10 minutes or something like that. And it really is a really, you really have a good flight out of it. So I think it's a great design. I think it's gonna gain a lot of pace. People are starting to now post a lot of videos and tests and feeling out the drone. Remember, it's just came out this month, a couple of weeks ago. So it's still a very new drone, very fresh drone, and I think it's a brilliant comparator to the DJI Mavic Air and DJI in general. And I think they're going to lose some customers. I mean, there's a lot of customers which are very fanatical about DJI in the same way they are fanatical about Apple products. But I think Parrot's done a really good job on the design and the look, the feel, and the form and function of this drone. I mean, they totally nailed it on the design principles. And if you understand design principles, form and function are the highest parts of the principle of good design, and it has both. They really thought about this drone when constructing it, and I would say they thought about the software as well. Some people may have a gripe about paying 17 pounds, English pounds, for the additional applications. I mean, I don't see it as a big deal. You know, we tend to spend a lot more on our drones, buying the little add-ons. It's a good function. There are functions within there which are quite similar to what they're offering, but not totally dedicated. So it's an option. There's a lot of features in the app already. It's an option. If you want it, you get it. I don't think it's a deal breaker. Anybody saying it's a deal breaker, well, I disagree with them. That's your opinion. Anyway, that's my quick overview on the Parrot Anafi. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll wait to see more developments as other YouTubers carry out tests on the quality, different color profiles and settings to see how to get the best out of this new little drone. And I think there's going to be a lot more videos posting up over the next couple of months.